efficiently for your learning curve, submit as project synopsis, get it approved, continue on your self-learning journey and submit a working prototype of a project. And we will talk about how to submit about that. Okay, so basically, I hope this is clear. We will move forward just to give you an idea of what kind of projects your colleagues have submitted. So technically, problem statement, one of your, let's say, co-participants has created what is called a diabetes predictor. So it's a machine learning based program which takes input. So this is very similar to what who was talking about the maybe a Python based program. But of course, in this person has used a PaaS service, which is basically this Azure machine learning. This service is used with the help of this. Basically, some kind of input parameters are given, and based on that, it tries to predict whether a person is likely to have diabetes or not. So scikit library in Python and all is used. The next one, just to show you an idea, in general, this is using, it seems, the cognitive service or something. So there is a language thing which the person has used some kind of a speech translation feature and submitted a project successfully using CSS, HTML and JavaScript, basically using the Azure cognitive service, the demo of which I showed you. So technically, rather than using, let's say I use .NET C# kind of a thing, this person has used JavaScript, which is good enough. This, it seems somebody has created some kind of a GUI on a web application which does some kind of a mathematical problem solving. Again, an Azure service of the nature of, let's say, a web app seems to have been used because there is a GUI. And if there is a database component, mostly we saw people are using Azure SQL or whatever, depending on what is their need. So overall, this was just to show you 3 to 4, and this is the final problem statement. One of the students have submitted a identification tool for handwritten text. So the person has written something for identifying using the custom vision, which is one of the AI product of Azure. It's a PaaS service that it gives a basic, the OCR services of custom vision. You give it a handwritten text and it tells you which SMS number is it. And remember, the person may not be stopping here further. He or she can continue on his or her journey of enhancing the product for their own learning. But the project has been successfully submitted and approved. Okay. So this was just to show you 3 to 4 problem statements which people have chosen and have successfully submitted. Now the final piece of this whole presentation, and then we will leave it to, again, question answers, because this is important. In general, in project submissions, we have seen that earlier there was a challenge where the second option, which is seen below, was not available. So mostly there was a mandatory condition to complete, let's say, all the e-learning. There was a mandatory options of doing this, and only then you could get. Now this still stands true. The top statement which is mentioned here, which talks about this. Okay, so where's my pen? Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, so basically this still stands true if you want it with a credit and internship certificate. Maybe Gunjan, if you could just highlight this for me so that people are clear.
Sure, Prashant. Sure. So to all the students, there's a good news. I think some of you have already attended the session and they know this, but for rest of the ones who were not there in the previous session and are joining, you go, before going on to the final project submission, you complete all your mandatory courses. You complete both the industry videos, which is mandatory to be completed. You submit your project synopsis and submit your project, and your project gets accepted. You get the internship certificate. Second, you while you are completing your learning, you can still submit your project and you can get internship certificate if your project gets approved.